Morning guys, how you going again? So this should be video, should we 100? I think we are, this is the 100th video for the STUDEBAKER. Crikey. What am I going to do today? I'm going to do a little bit of finishing off on this wood piece for a start off. I just want to trim a few little pieces up and just roughen a couple more pieces. And then I want to put the top part back on. Obviously put the brackets all back on, put the top back on. I want to finish, I wouldn't say finish well, but I want to weld up the ends where the, yesterday. I want to weld all these ends in a bit better on that piece, because I only had a couple of tack welds on these, and it's with up and down and wiggling around, it's broken a couple of welds on there. So like I want to put a couple more substantial welds on there, so before I take everything off, and then we can obviously weld things up properly and dress it up and finish it up when we're doing everything else, doing all the finishing work for everything else and getting everything looking really nice. So you want to do that, get all the final placements, burn a lot of these pieces in to a degree that you can't really break them out, if you know what I mean. So I want to do that. Yeah, that's probably the bulk of what I'll get done today, I think, and then start possibly prepping this for taking this body off somehow. So yeah, I want to start making up maybe a couple of steel brackets to pick up the bolts in the front of the cowl, and then work out somewhere on the back and the front seat to pick up 3 points, so the front and the back and thing on both sides, and then try and strengthen that up so the body obviously can't either bend in or bend out, if you know what I mean, when we pick it up somehow, and possibly maybe even tie something in together so we got maybe a couple of points that we can pick the body up off on, you know what I mean. So yeah, that's sort of where I want to get today, and I'll just see how I get on. That's pretty much what I want to do today. So I think, I'm not 100% sure, but possibly maybe 101 or maybe 102 might be picking the body off. I'll go around as I'm doing some of the stuff, and I'll just check and make sure there's nothing that I've sort of missed that needs to be done before we pull the body off. Most things can be done after, but I'll just check to make sure there's not any other little bits and pieces that, you know, that still need to be on the chassis to and everything, most things together, to see whether things fit still. I'll double check the front stuff, because I'll just make sure I haven't got any other things I need to do to that stuff. I think most of that's all okay. I'm pretty sure most of it's all okay. I'll just double check that. May even do just a refitting and just double check a few things, just make sure those sorts of things over the next couple of videos. But yeah, I want to get this body off really shortly, so we can clean all this stuff up properly. Like I'll actually take the doors off and all that sort of stuff, and we'll clean up all the inside jams. Not that there's really a lot of jam in these, but get all the crap off them, treat everything, get it all etch primed. We're going to have to set it up on some sort of, on those sawhorses, or make a dolly would be nice, or something. See if we can make something up. We've actually got some more casters here, I think, that we could maybe put the body on a dolly, make up a quick dolly to put them on, so it's stored at a good height to work on, because I don't want it too low, otherwise it just becomes a pain. But it wouldn't be bad to actually better maybe push it around or shift it around so it's not stuck in one place. So yeah, a few things like that possibly. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. I'll stop waffling. There's I think Wayne Reynolds bought a couple more t-shirts at Teespring. Thanks buddy, that's awesome. And hold on a minute, I'm just trying to remember, there's somebody else said they bought me a copy in the last video. Hold on. yeah, it was Wood and Metal Garage. Thanks, buddy. Awesome. Every little piece helps. So yeah, if you can, yeah, I would really appreciate it. If you can, go to either my Teespring or buy me a coffee. You know, you can buy me multiples if you want. Coffees. It's $5 basically a copy. I think that translates back to New Zealand money too. So if you guys are in America, it's not going to be $5. It'll be $3 or $4 type sort of thing. So yeah, as it transfers back to New Zealand currency, or the Teespring or whatever. So if you can, and you would love to support me, and hopefully we can see if we can get a bit of a generation build up. It's a real pain that I'm not quite at that 1,000 to start generate a little bit of money off the ads and stuff you guys watch too when that happens. So that would be nice, but I'm just not quite there yet. I'm close, but I think I'm 820, which is really, really awesome. Thanks guys for all you new guys for the subs. Really, really appreciate it. Because I'm trying to, even though this is what I do, when I start generating income from YouTube more, and obviously other bits and pieces as we expand, I can put this back into doing way better stuff for you guys, and then hopefully, if by a miracle they just start letting things happen around the world again, and they haven't got us all freaking tied up in the corner basically. You're back into your corner title type thing. You know, if I can get to Minnesota and start working with Arco and Heidi and all those bits and pieces in Minnesota, that would be just absolutely awesome, because the amount of cars and bits and pieces and stuff that is just sitting there ready for us to build things, you guys just have no clue. Like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like, I know for a fact that the amount of, say like tri-fives and just stuff like that, and there's those metro, you know, those really cool, I don't know what year they are, those metro vans, like those, they might be like 50s or something like that, 50s or 60s vans that you see if quite a few people do. Like, there's just so much that sort of stuff, and trucks and heaps of stuff from the 40s and 50s and 20s, and like they literally have, they've got a whole yard full of stuff. I'm not going to tell you where it is or all that sort of stuff and how much they've got, but I know. And there is, I think if you go back through Arco's videos like quite a few months ago, I'm pretty sure he posted a video up, a quick video up, when he drove around some of his yard, or the yard that they've got where they buy and collect old cars and parts and stuff like that. Like, there's a massive shed that would be bigger, I think bigger than this, and it's just full of motors and transers and gearboxes and all that sort of stuff. So like, the potential there, if we can get things rolling, and you know, the poor guy's trying to do it by himself at the moment, which is really crazy. Like, before all this COVID crap happened, and it's sort of an unfortunate thing because where he is, but I think also it's a blessing because, well, it doesn't seem to be sometimes, but because he gets disturbed a lot, but sort of where they are, they're a bit more remote, but it also makes it very hard to get people there to work and want to keep working. Now, they've had some quite good fabricators there, but they've just, unfortunately, you know, they've done silly things, you know, and just ended up either losing their jobs or ended up in prison for other dumb things, you know, and it's just, you know, he ends up back by himself again, you know. And he's had a few guys there work for him. Like, he's got some good mates that come and help him every now and again, like Michael, the young fella that's doing the bike stuff, but like, they're not permanent workers, they're not there helping him all the time, and that's what I want to go there to do. And obviously Rachel's going to be there for helping Heidi, so like, between things, you know, the girls will be there to about help, you know, and all that sort of stuff, so it all leads on, and hopefully eventually we should be able to build it into a good regular building cars, you know. And I don't mean quickly, but you know, at a reasonable pace, you know, where you can actually, like, okay, you drag a car in, pull it apart, strip it down, replace floors, quarter panels, whatever customise, chop it, section it, whatever, you know, and build this really radical car. But I'm talking, you know, and have maybe 2 or 3 on the go at once. So when you're sort of waiting on parts for that, okay, right out here, we're back onto this one again, you know, and we can sort of bang maybe 2 or 3 cars out in, you know, 4 or 5 months within a reasonable sort of time frame, you know. Or if it's a really, really heavy, extensive build, you know, it might be a project, a bit like, say, if you built Rogue and like hand finished steel and stuff like that, and did a full on hand built custom, you know, you could leave that as one of those rolling projects for a couple of years, so you could actually have the time to do the full on finishing work and make every panel perfect, you know, in raw steel. But sometimes, unfortunately, it's like if we'd known, you know, Arco probably could have taken his time more at the times he had and made the underneath the car way better. But when he was originally making that in 2020, like he had from January, 1st of January to October to make that car, you know, from top to bottom, inside and out, drivetrain, body panels, interior, the whole lot, you know, and then drive it to Vegas. Well, you don't have the luxury when you're building it by yourself. You know, if I'd been there, it would have been a little bit better. And obviously, if COVID hadn't been there, you might have had a few more hands here and there. But you still wouldn't have the luxury to, you know, build a fender or build a door or build the roof section and, you know, in a couple of pieces and you know, TIG weld it together and hammer and dolly that seam and roll up the whole panel on the English wheel and a planching hammer and spend weeks on one panel, you know, or days on one panel and get it really, really, really almost perfect and stitch it on. And, you know, that takes, like, it's phenomenal hours to build a car to that level. You know, but when you're trying to build a car in a few months by yourself, you've either got to decide and what sort of, you're trying to build it the best you can and get it as finished as fast as you can, you know, like sometimes you've got to cut corners within reason, not safety wise, but just on the way that you're finishing it, you know, body filler, you know, smearing body filler on to smooth it out, you know, without spending, you know, days and hours rolling panels. You know, you can put that time into finishing the body and getting it painted, whereas you probably would have spent that whole time just making the panels alone without putting it together, if you know what I mean. So you probably would have had it together, finished and painted in the time it would take to just make the panels and start stitching it together, you know, without the priming and the painting and everything else on top. So you've got to weigh it up. Sometimes it's just what you got to do. But anyway, I'll get into this because I'm now waffling again. Wow, I just found this. I thought I'd seen it in a box or a rubbish, like a bin. I was like, man, look at that. It's like, oh, there's a little square. Yeah, not very square, but I might clean it up and see if I can straighten it. Well, I gave it a quick clean up. It might be slightly usable now, at least to just draw a quick semi-square line. At least it's halfway usable. They're kind of straight, and I gave it a quick blast, sand blast. Like I didn't really hook into it, but I just gave it a quick file across there. I just gave it a very light file across that edge just to make sure it was reasonably straight, and then I just sanded across there just to try and help me straighten it, so I could see where the highs and the worst of the highs and lows were, if you know what I mean. Just to give me an idea. Like, it's not worth chasing, but at least it might be a little bit usable just to draw a quick, you know, square line on something that's not super important, but you want a rough square, if you know what I mean. So at least I can use it. On the body, I trimmed these pieces off. I just flushed these back, both sides. I've put those pieces back in. I didn't really do much else, just a little bit of clean up, but bugger all. And I've tack welded these here a bit more substantially, like in a few more places, just hopefully so they don't break out. And when I get it up there, I might burn them in a bit better. So that's pretty much what I've been doing this morning, apart from mucking around with that for probably about an hour. I was trying to do it quickly, but it's like some things just never happens that way. So yeah, so that's about it at the moment. I haven't really got anything else to show you. Hopefully I'll get this back, the top back on here after lunch. I was trying to make 2 of those things, but by the time I was freaking around with it. So yeah, I hope to get this back up on here shortly. And yeah, let's just say like do a bit more burning on those pieces and just make any last tweaks or whatever. Obviously before we strip everything off. Even though the body will kind of be together, it'll be, a lot of it will be pulled apart. Not there's actually a lot to come off it when it's down to that point, but like the pillars and all that sort of stuff will be all, or the posts, windscreen posts will be all taken off it and stuff when it's off eventually. And then hopefully when it's painted, we'll probably assemble it to a certain point and then lift it back on. And hopefully I can set it up so these pieces that'll go on it won't hurt or change anything when it's being painted or whenever we're going to lift it back on, if you know what I mean. So it's still, so I can put them back on after it's painted. Not quite sure how I'm doing that yet. We'll work that out. But yeah, we're getting there. So yeah, I'll leave it here in the meantime, and I'll see you back here after lunch. Righty, so what you just see me doing there, I've just been plug welding just in one spot on these. I will do more when I pull all this apart and like obviously do all the finishing work when we're doing all the finishing work and everything else. I've done a few more spot welds in here just to make sure that these don't break out and move, especially when I've got it apart and I don't know exactly where, you know, and I don't know where anything goes. Well, you know what I mean. Same here, there, and there, done those ones. Obviously put some more spot welds in them so they shouldn't break off. This is all sanded and done for now. Been playing with making one of these. It's not jointing here. This is not a final, this is a sort of a test piece to try and get it right, because now I've figured out how to make it so I can get it on and off without actually having something there permanently there. So I've just been trying to work that out to get the distances right for in here when I put the other piece in, and I've actually opened up the back of the other piece so that slips in. I'd actually, when I'm possibly happy with it, I might just put a couple of, I don't know, I might just put a couple of tack welds in it so it can't slip out or something. I'm not 100% sure, because I don't really want to have it so it's closed and for some reason it's popped open, then that piece falls off. That's my only other concern. Actually, I've got it sitting here. I forgot it was sitting there. Because I've opened this out, this here, oh, it's this tripod down. Still see that? Yep. So yeah, this here goes like that and locks down. Obviously I want to put a bit more tension on it, but if there's nothing on there, the possibility that jiggling down the road and that popping up and that falling off is quite possible. So that's my next little dilemma, is to figure out something there. That's at the moment, like that's coming over and it's not likely to jump up. I could put a bit more tension on it, which probably will put a bit more bend in there. So this is sort of like a test piece to try and get, obviously, the lengths of this right. It took me a few goes to get there. I actually had to shorten it a couple of times because it was just too long. I measured between here and guessed and bent those pieces over, and it was still too long. This is the one that I started the other day and had the big prongs that's hanging out here still. So I've made it so yeah, you can put a bar in here, a lever in here, and spring this out and pull it off if need be. So I've been testing that. I haven't actually had this back down and tested in here. I do want to take more off in here a little bit, try and open this gap up. Somebody did suggest maybe cutting these pieces here, the two main pieces, and opening it up a little bit and lifting it and putting a little bit extra material in there. I could do that, but then I would actually be afraid, not that it would, but just thinking if it didn't happen to get a really good mount into these two pieces, obviously that you weld it both sides all the way around and then grind it off and clean it up, so nobody would even know. But if for some reason it's going to break, it's going to break on those two welds, so I don't really want to do that if I don't have to, and I don't want to have to freaking remake them when it's all down. So that's why I might just try and clearance this, get this a little bit deeper, take a little bit more off here, just take a little bit more off everywhere and possibly even more off here, so it's just got a bit more space when it's down to get everything in there. But as I say, if that top, that front bow, when it's got all the material in it on it, if it has to sit up on top, it's not hard to put a bungee around it or something. But because I have seen them like that in photos, you know, they've been sitting on top, because obviously they struggle, obviously, after a while to get it all in there. So I don't know, it's just one of those thoughts. So yeah, and the same, I've plug welded and tacked these all up a bit more. These will be proper riveted. These tack welds probably be ground off, possibly. So yeah, all these here will all be riveted together in the end. There'll be all steel rivets. There would be no bolts in the source. There'll be actually one complete piece that won't be able to come apart unless you grind the rivet off. That's how it's made, so from what I can see. So that's how it's going to be. Same with these. That back piece will be riveted onto the bracket. It's not bolted on or screwed on. It's riveted on with a big steel rivet. A bit like, well, like these here, if you haven't seen my earlier videos. So we've got some steel rivets like this, and I'm going to make some, because I can't get longer ones in this particular size, if you know what I mean. It was just unfortunate we had some short ones, but we couldn't get any longer ones. Go figure. I could probably order them from somewhere, but it's just as easy to get some rod and just make them. So yeah, the longer ones, like these short ones, will be alright, and like to these places, it should be right in here, possibly. You know, there's enough meat to carry through the other side and squash it up. But it's the pieces that go through here and places like that just aren't quite long enough. Like these are long enough to go through here to take that up, so I'll use them for that. They're actually off the chassis, extra ones off the chassis when they re-riveted pieces back on, like cross members and stuff like that, when they did a lot of work on it, you know, quite a few years ago. It's had some work done to the chassis as well, obviously, been fixed and repaired from abuse. So yeah, that's sort of where I'm at. Hopefully, yeah, as I said, in the next couple of days, we're going to build, or I think we're going to build a dolly tomorrow to put the body on, and I'll start making the pieces to pick the body up off, or even lift it up, but just we're going to brace it through the top here with something. I just haven't quite worked out what I'm going to use yet, but it'll be braced. Yeah, like I say, like I'm not quite 100% sure what, but it'll be braced with timber or some steel rod or something picked up from those points and brought back and pick up. Obviously the front and here and then and there. Now whether we bring a piece up in here and put a bracket on it and screw it on, or pick up the existing screws or something like that, because there's no bolts in it, so apart from the ones that we've put in, So yeah, like it'll just have to pick up on some points, you know, with a few screws in it to obviously help secure it. I could, just trying to think what I could use without chopping good stuff up. I don't know if I've got enough. I've only got one link there. This would be ideal. This piece is actual. This is what I made the other stuff out of. Made those out of. So I've got one length of that. I could use that. Probably could actually make a bracket wire under there, wire piece under there, wire piece under there, pick that up. Just to give it some strength until it's sitting on the dolly. You can support it up again and pick it up. So, or possibly just wood. Wood might be easier. I'll work it out. Just need something to secure it. Anyway, that'll do for today. And yeah, we'll catch you tomorrow probably. Righty guys, so I'm just getting myself sorted out to brace this body up to lift it off. I'm basically just going to make the bracing in that today, and we're going to build a dolly to lift this off, to sit the body on. It'll be similar sort of height to what the C.A.R is now, maybe a little bit lower sort of type thing, but yeah, I'm just getting myself prepared. Basically, I'm just using the scraps of that conduit, and just probably will end up putting two pieces side by side and just tack it in a few spots so it's got a bit more guts, because it's not terribly heavy, that stuff. But I'm going to pick up on there, probably on this point here, and then about that back bracket there somewhere, just put a welder piece on there that I can just pick up on this couple of screw holes or something like that. We'll see what happens. I'm just using all the scraps and offcuts and stuff like that just to make something up, and it'll be down both sides and probably 2 tubes wide. It might be made out of, the second piece might be just out of bits and pieces just to give it a bit extra strength so it won't collapse up or bend. It should be okay, but you know what I mean, just to help secure basically top half of the body, because I can't put the doors closed, I can't weld them closed, they've got to come off and on. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing at the moment. So as I get through some progress in this, I'll bring you back and show you what I've been doing. But yeah, and that'll pretty much be the dolly. And then this afternoon at 1 o'clock, so I'll shoot home probably about 12:30 or whatever, and yeah, and then about 1 o'clock we're doing the live with Heidi and Arco, but you'll probably see this after that. But yeah, so anyway, I'll get to it. Right, let's see if we can get this one side burned in there. Then I'll make up some extra bits just to put in between and just tack it on, just to make it a bit strong. Just this one length of conduit. I'll just tack some stuff on the side of it. Put this on here. Maybe. Well, that was fun. Yeah, I don't make a very good mountain goat. Anyway. Alrighty, just a little update for you guys again. So I've got this double tubed, obviously both sides anchored in. So hopefully this should be enough for when we pick the body up, just so it doesn't move. You know, once it's sitting on the dolly, I can probably take this out of the way to do body work and clean up and whatever, and then when we go to lift it back on, I can, you know, I can put it back on. It's not going to matter too much. And then, you know, once it's back on the chassis, this can come off and it can go away for upholstery and all that sort of stuff, you know, later on. But yeah, I think this should do the job. Hopefully that should be strong enough. Right, just another quick wee update before I go. So I've started cleaning it out, unbolting it, all that sort of stuff. So I've taken the bolts out of here, taken all the crap out of here, the floor. I'll have to take the steering box and the brake pedal piece out of there so that can clear, obviously, in here. And I've got to take the bolts of the back and the rear fenders off. This rear piece and possibly the tank can just sit there. It shouldn't be too much of a problem, but it might be just as easy to undo the couple of bolts that hold it in. And that one there, yeah, so pretty much it's halfway ready to go, to come off. The owner of the vehicle is going to build a dolly over the weekend, so it'll be ready to lift off Monday morning, basically, you know, once we've got the other bits and pieces undone. But I'm about to head home and do the live with Heidi and Arco very shortly, so you'll see this after that, but it'll be the next video up. It might be up tonight, I'm not sure. Just depends on when I get it edited and just see whether I want to put a little bit more footage in it or not. But I think the next video will be lifting this off and then obviously hooking into the chassis and all that sort of stuff and cleaning the body up and all those cool things and making this old girl look pretty, and obviously finishing off bits and pieces, you know, actually do the proper finishing work on everything that I've built and made for it and fixed and repaired, and obviously, yeah, put a lot of stuff back together, and then there'd be little knick-knacks that'd have to be repaired to be put back on it and stuff like that, you know, and things made and bits and pieces. But the bulk of it now is, any of those pieces shouldn't really have the car bolted together to put it on, if you know what I mean. There'll be lots of little pieces, but none of them will have anything to do with fitment issues or bodywork or what sort of thing, you know, and we can test fit a lot of things on the chassis, and, you know, it'd be a lot easier to work out the braking mechanisms and all that sort of stuff. I've got most of that worked out, I think, like way back in the early videos of this. I can't remember, it was in the first probably 20 or 30. When I was mucking around with these back brakes and bits and pieces, it's all rod and linkage. So that'd be a lot easier to work out with the body off, you know, and stuff like that. If I need to change anything, fab anything, whatever, but that'd be just heaps easier with the body off. So, you know, get it you know, we'll get the chassis cleaned up. We'll probably split the motor possibly apart just to make sure, or at least get the head off it, make sure there's no corrosion in the bores. As I've said in earlier videos, this has been rebuilt, but quite a number of years ago. It's been sitting, so we just want to check inside, make sure that's okay. Obviously clean it up, probably a repaint, you know, lots of pieces like that, you know. And then when we start putting the body together, we can get the chassis and everything running before we actually put the body back on, which would be really, really cool. You know, I'll get Dad to help me with probably a lot of that sort of stuff, because he's a bit more mechanically minded with this sort of stuff. Like, there's not much of it that I probably can't do, but he's a lot more familiar with some of the old funny mechanisms and stuff with all this old stuff, whereas I'm not quite so up with it, if you know what I mean. I know it's more simple, but sometimes the way these things work is a little bit different to what the, you know, more modern 50s, 60s, 70s sort of stuff works like, you know. These little quirks with some of those funny old gear, you know, they were all fairly different, so he's got a lot more knowledge on that. So when it comes to getting this up and running, I'm pretty sure that Dad will be spending a few days here with me just to help iron any little kinks and bits and pieces out of it, because he's got a lot more knowledge in this old stuff than I do. But yeah, so lots to look forward to. Hopefully, we're really hoping by probably not Christmas, but not long after that, this should be, I'd say, almost done. All things going well, but you know, you never know. But yeah, we should be close by then, I would think. We'll see. Anyway, we'll catch you later on. Hey guys, if you need welding gas, go see the boys at Cool Gas. If you're in New Zealand, yep, go see these guys. They'll look after you. Cool Gas, New Zealand.